you started early with martial arts,
Yeah.
right? And you said there was this great quote, and it was something like, it was martial arts, I think, that gave you the confidence to know that, oh, wait, I'm not going to be broke one day, or something like that. Is
I
that right? Is it?
realized, yeah, martial arts was the first thing that I realized, like, oh, I'm not a loser. Because I
That's
felt
it.
like I moved a lot when I was a kid. We moved
You,
from New Jersey to San Francisco when I was 7, lived in San Francisco till I was 11, moved to Florida from 11 to 13, Boston
oh, wow.
from 13 to 24. So it was always
Dude, I lived
moving.
in 10 states by the time I was 13, too.
Yeah, there's some.
Why were you guys moving around?
Well, my stepdad went to school in Florida. Well, we moved to San Francisco just to like experience something different and just get away from New Jersey. Moved there, and then my stepdad went to school in Florida. And when we went to school in Florida, we had to go to the University of Florida at Gainesville. So we were there for 3 years. And then when we moved to Boston, he was going to the Boston Architectural Center. So we moved there so he could finish it and get his architectural degree. So we were just always going where we had to go. And when we did that, I would have to make a whole new set of friends. And so it was this thing about being insecure and young, and life is kind of fucked up and chaotic, and you're meeting these new people, and kids are fucking cruel. And I always was insecure because we were always moving around a lot, and my life was kind of chaotic. My family life was chaotic, and I just felt like a loser. I always felt like I just had to hide from people. I was like socially nervous around people. And I just felt like there were certain people that were winners in life, and I was not that. I was a loser. And then I started doing martial arts, and I got really good at it.
Yeah.
Like I was obsessed, and I got really good at it really quickly. And I realized, like, oh, I'm not a loser. Like, I just have to find a thing, and fucking really get after it in a way that I know some people that have had an easy life, they're not going to pursue it like it's going to save them. And I was pursuing it like this is going to save me. Because I knew as I kept getting better, I started getting this feeling like, oh, I'm good at something. Like, I'm good at something dangerous. And then I got really good at it. And then I started winning tournaments and competing and traveling all the road. And so my whole life from 15 to 21 was just traveling around competing. That's all I did. I was kind of... It was kind of like socially fucked up because I wasn't hanging out with many kids my age. I wasn't really partying. I wasn't doing...
You're training.
I was just training.
Competing. Yeah.
Training, competing, and teaching. I was teaching at Boston University when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
I was teaching an accredited course on Taekwondo. It was like pass, fail, A, but it counted towards your GPA. So I tell all the students, I'd say, listen, show up, you get an A. That's all you have to do. Show up and try, you get an A. You don't have to be awesome at it. I just want you to just show up and do your best, and you get an A. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And so they knew that counted towards their GPA. So I had this big fucking class.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I did that for a couple of years. And then when I started doing stand-up, well, first of all, I started kickboxing. And when I started kickboxing, that's when I started getting like brain damage. And I was realizing I was getting brain damage. Because we were sparring hard.
Oh, for sure. Like for real, you were.
Yeah, legit.
You're getting dinged up. And...
I was like laying in bed with headaches after sparring. And, and there was no money in it. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm 21. What am I doing with my life? Like, I can't keep doing this. And I had already started doing open mics. So I'd already started doing stand-up comedy, but I was kind of like just dabbling in it. And I thought I could do that too, but I still had these competition aspirations. And then the brain damage thing was scary because I knew quite a few people around me that from the time I was 16 till the time I was 21, I saw them deteriorate, like noticeably slurring their words, forgetful, not knowing what you were talking about like moments ago.
Yes.
And I knew that's coming. And I knew that was coming for me.
And CTE back then wasn't in the conversation. Like that wasn't in the lexicon, right?
Brain damage was. People would talk about people being punch drunk. And But I knew too many people that I saw it in them. I saw a deterioration from young people. I saw slurring in their words. And they would have like one drink of alcohol and it'd be like they were hammered. Because something happens when people are punch drunk. When they drink, they just fall apart.
Yeah.
And I saw that too. And I was like, okay, I got to stop doing this. Like, this is dangerous. Because we weren't sparring smart. We were going to war.
Like no headgear?
No headgear.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes headgear, but most of the time no headgear. Most of the time it was just going to war.
Yeah.
And you weren't really sparring. You were fighting. We were fighting all the time. And guys getting dropped all the time. And that was just the kind of gym that I was in. It was a hard-ass fucking kickboxing gym and beat the fuck out of each other.
Yeah.
And I was realizing, like, okay, I got to get out of this. Like, this is gonna ruin me. Like, and then if my mind gets ruined, my life is ruined. Because then you can't think, you can't do things, you don't know what the fuck you're doing in life. It's like literally everything is the quality of your ability to think. And I knew that I was putting that in jeopardy. So then I went all in comedy. But I realized from martial arts that if I go all in on something, I could be successful at it.
That's right. Like, that's the anchor.
Yeah, that's it.
You learn.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool, man, when I read that. Yeah.
There's things in life that I think every kid should do something difficult. Whether it's playing chess or whether it's soccer or whether it's wrestling, something that really fucking tests you. Because you learn that you can get better at stuff, and you learn that you can overcome all those feelings of weakness that are inside of you.
Yeah. And it acts as like a forcing mechanism for discipline.
Yeah.
And to work through that shit. And also, I feel like it's like with you in martial arts and then transitioning over to comedy. I feel like it also, for me, it forces also our kids to find their thing. And even as you get a little older, you know, in your teens and in your early 20s, because dude, in my early 20s, I was still trying to figure out who I was and what I was going to be, and even into my 30s. But I feel like as you're searching for that thing, it's like with me in football. Like, I thought football was my ticket. That was the thing that's going to allow me to. I'm going to buy my parents their first house.
Right.
Because I didn't live in a house until I was 27. I was WWE champion. Was the first fucking house I lived
amazing.
in. It was amazing. So I thought football was the ticket, and then I realized down the road, like, I have to finish this chapter in my life because I don't have that skill set to go on. I could continue to push it and push it and push it, but no. But like I was saying, it forces kids to as well, and older kids as you get into adulthood, to find your thing, right? Because a lot of times we're in the thing, we think it's the thing, and it's going to be our ticket out, but it's not.
And if you can find one thing, you can find many things.
Yeah, right.
It's like the Miyamoto Musashi quote. Once you know the way broadly, you can see it in all things. There's some real wisdom in those words, because there's something about finding a pursuit or a passion or something that you truly love that's engaging and challenging, that is exciting for you, and it advances you as a person. And the lessons that you learn in pursuing that thing, you apply to everything in your life.
Everything in life, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything in life. There's a